For 18 months straight, my wife hadn't touched me first. Not once. Then one night, I said 8 simple words to her. She looked at me with tears running down her face and whispered, "You finally see me." That night changed everything. Our bedroom door stayed closed for hours, just like when we were newlyweds 30 years ago. Remember when your wife couldn't keep her hands off you? When that spark lit up the room whenever you walked in? Yeah, me too. But after 30 years with Jane, that fire had gone cold. Dead cold. We shared a bed, but lived separate lives. I tried everything a man could think of. Date nights, weekend getaways, even those damn pills they advertised during football games. Nothing worked. Here's the kicker. The solution wasn't some fancy marriage retreat or sex technique. It was words. Specific words that hit a woman over 50 right in the heart. See, 7 out of 10 women our age feel invisible, not just to society, but to the very men they've spent decades with. And no amount of "you look nice" compliments fix that. I'm about to share the 3 exact compliments that turned my marriage from a Cold War zone back to the passionate partnership it was decades ago. These aren't just nice words. They're psychological triggers, specifically tuned to how a woman's mind works after 50. The third one is so powerful that when I first used it, Jane and I reconnected in ways I honestly thought were gone forever. And I guarantee it has nothing to do with telling her she looks good. Let me paint you a picture of how bad things got. Our 28th anniversary. I did everything by the book. Reservations at our first date restaurant. New suit, flowers, the works. Jane came downstairs wearing a dress I hadn't seen before. I said, "Wow, you look gorgeous tonight, honey." Know what she said back? "This old thing? I've had it for years." That practiced smile never reached her eyes. I knew that look. Disappointment. Again. Dinner was like a business meeting. Weather talk, kids talk, retirement numbers. We came home, watched separate shows, and went to bed with that mechanical goodnight peck that might as well have been a handshake. Backs turned, separate sides of the bed, staring at our phones. Remember when you couldn't wait to get her alone? Yeah, those days seemed gone forever. It wasn't always that way. But somewhere after the kids grew up, that connection just died. Our conversations got shorter. The bedroom, let's just say we had a schedule that felt about as romantic as an oil change. I kept it to myself until my fishing buddy Mark mentioned that he and his wife Carol had somehow rekindled things in their 60s. I thought he was full of it, honestly, but I was desperate enough to ask how. "Listen, buddy," he told me while we were waiting for a bite one morning. "It's not about what happens in the bedroom. It's what happens up here." He tapped his temple. "You've got to learn to speak her language at this age. It's different now." Sound familiar? If you're nodding, if you recognize that wall between you and the woman you've shared decades with, this next part might just save your marriage like it saved mine. I started looking into how women change after 50, not just physically, but emotionally. What I found hit me like a punch to the gut. Here's the truth most guys our age miss. After 50, a woman's world flips upside down. It's not just hot flashes and empty nests. It's deeper. After decades taking care of everyone else, raising kids, building a home, supporting you through your career, handling aging parents, she's suddenly asking, "Who the hell am I now? Does anyone actually see me? Not just what I do for everyone else." Those "you look pretty" lines that worked when she was younger, they barely register now. In fact, they can backfire, reminding her of what she thinks she's lost. The game has completely changed, but nobody gave us the new rulebook. Think about it. Our wives have weathered more storms by 50 than most people face in a lifetime. Career setbacks, health scares, family drama. They've grown tougher, wiser, more complex. Meanwhile, society treats them like they're fading into the background. That's when it hit me. I'd been speaking a language Jane couldn't hear anymore. She didn't need more compliments about her appearance. She needed to be truly seen for her strength, her uniqueness, and her impact on the world. When I figured this out and started using 3 specific types of compliments, I wasn't just saying what Jane needed to hear. I was finally seeing who she'd become after all these years. and that changed everything between us. The first compliment, praise her strength. The first compliment that turned things around, praising her strength. Not physical strength, her emotional resilience, her wisdom, her capability under pressure. Let me tell you exactly how I first tried this. Jane had been helping our daughter through a nasty divorce while dealing with a complete department reorganization at work. For weeks, I'd watched her handle these storms without complaining, always steady. One evening, instead of my usual "How was your day?" robot question, I said, "I've been thinking about how you've guided Emma through this divorce while handling that mess at work. Your emotional strength amazes me. I couldn't juggle both without losing it." The change was instant. Her whole body language shifted. She stood taller and looked me straight in the eyes, really looked at me like she hadn't in years. For a second, she said nothing, just stared like she was seeing a stranger. Then, instead of sitting in her usual chair across the room, she sat right next to me on the couch and started telling me about challenges at work she'd never mentioned. "I didn't think you'd noticed," she said quietly. "Some days I feel like I'm hanging on by a thread." "I notice," I told her, "and I'm in awe of how you handle it all." That night, we talked for 2 solid hours, our longest real conversation in years. Why does this work so damn well? Simple. After 50, women start questioning their value in a world obsessed with youth. A strength compliment cuts through that noise. It says, "I see your power. I recognize what you've overcome. I value the wisdom you've earned." So instead of, "You look nice," try something with teeth. "I was thinking about how you handled that situation with our son last week. Your patience and wisdom were incredible." Or, "The way you rebuilt your career after getting laid off shows amazing resilience. Most people would have given up." Be specific. Zero in on exactly what impresses you. Her problem solving, her emotional intelligence, and name it directly. Just don't make this rookie mistake. Never say "for your age" or "despite getting older." That undermines the entire compliment. Acknowledge her strength without qualifiers. Try this once tonight. Watch what happens. You'll see a change in her eyes that no nice dress comment could ever achieve. The second compliment. Appreciate her unique traits. Second compliment goes deeper, appreciating what makes her uniquely herself. Not generic qualities any woman might have, but the specific traits that make her, her. This requires actually paying attention. After decades together, we stop seeing our wives as the distinct individuals they are. They become roles: wife, mother, cook, partner. We forget to notice their unique qualities. Here's what works and what doesn't. Don't waste your breath saying "you're so nice to everyone." That's forgettable elevator talk. Say instead, "I noticed how you remembered our waiter mentioned his exam last week, and you asked him about it today. You have this ability to make people feel important that I've always admired." Don't bother with "you're pretty." Surface level garbage. Say instead, "That little sideways smile you get when you know you've won an argument but you're being polite about it. That expression is so uniquely you, and it still gets me after all these years." Don't offer the weak. "You're smart, too vague to matter." Say instead, "That analytical mind of yours catches details everyone else misses, like when you spotted that error in our tax returns that even the accountant overlooked." I'll never forget trying this at a neighborhood barbecue. Jane had diffused a tense political argument with a thoughtful observation that had everyone nodding. Later that night, I said, "You have this remarkable ability to find common ground when everyone's at each other's throats. You didn't take sides today, but still made everyone feel heard. Not many people can do that." She looked at me like I'd grown a second head. Later she admitted, "I didn't think you ever noticed that about me." That simple recognition created an immediate connection between us. That night, for the first time in months, she reached for my hand in bed. The key is specificity. When you name a quality that could only apply to your wife, not to women in general, you're saying, "I see you, not just any woman, but the specific, irreplaceable person you are." This matters deeply after 50, when women often feel like they're becoming invisible. Your words can make her visible again, to you and to herself. Next time you're together, look for something that's uniquely her. It might be her intuition, her humor, her creativity, something that makes her different from everyone else you know. Name it specifically and watch what happens. The third compliment: acknowledge her impact. Now for the game changer: acknowledging her impact on you and others. This goes beyond traits, to recognize the difference she's made in the world. After decades of giving to family, career, community, women our age often wonder if any of it mattered. Did raising those kids, building that career, volunteering those hours actually make a difference? Or could anyone have done it? That's why impact compliments hit so deep. They answer the fundamental question: has my life meant something? For our 30th anniversary, instead of the usual card with some Hallmark nonsense, I wrote Jane a letter. I detailed specific ways she had shaped me, our kids, and our community. I wrote, "Your belief in honesty changed how I do business. Remember when I was considering that shady deal 10 years ago? Your simple question, 'Would you be proud to tell the kids about this?' completely reset my moral compass. You've made me a better man without preaching a single word." When she read those words, she didn't just tear up, she broke down completely. Later, she told me it was the first time she felt I truly saw the meaning of her life. That night, she initiated sex for the first time in over a year. But more importantly, she was fully present, emotionally and physically, in a way I hadn't experienced in decades. Instead of "thanks for dinner," try something with depth. "You've made this house a place where everyone feels accepted exactly as they are. I notice how our kids and their friends always want to gather here. That's because of the environment you've created." Or, "The way you supported me through my heart scare last year made all the difference. The doctors prescribed medication, but your steadiness was what actually pulled me through." Here's the crucial difference. This isn't about thanking her for tasks, cooking, cleaning, etc., but acknowledging who she is and the mark she's left. It's not "thanks for keeping the house clean," but "the sense of calm I feel when I come home exists because you've created a space that reflects your values." This compliment recognizes her legacy, the ripple effects of her life that continue beyond daily chores. For women over 50, who naturally start reflecting on whether their life has had purpose, this recognition hits home like nothing else. Try it once. Watch her reaction. You might be shocked by the emotional response this simple acknowledgement triggers. Let me tell you exactly what happened as I started using these compliments. Week by week, our relationship transformed. The first changes were subtle. Jane started making real eye contact during conversations again. Not those quick, obligatory glances we'd gotten used to, but actual eye contact where I could see her connecting. Then came physical changes. She began sitting next to me on the couch instead of in that separate chair she'd claimed years ago. Small touches returned. Her hand on my arm during conversations, her shoulder against mine while watching TV. Nothing sexual yet, but definitely intimate, the physical language of connection we'd lost. By week 3, her laugh changed. That polite social chuckle was replaced by her real laugh, the full-throated one that sometimes makes her snort in public, a sound I realized I'd missed like crazy. Our conversations went from 10-minute status updates to hour-long talks. She started asking about my day and actually listening to the answer. I found myself paying more attention at work just so I'd have interesting things to share with her. Then came the turning point. 3 weeks in, Jane suggested we take a weekend trip, our first spontaneous getaway in years. During that weekend, away from distractions, she shared dreams she'd never told me. Plans for her retirement, places she wanted to see, projects she wanted to start. The dam had broken. The sex that followed wasn't just better, it was different. For years, even when we were physically intimate, there'd been an emotional distance. Bodies connecting while minds remained elsewhere. Now, that invisible wall was gone. We were fully present with each other. Even our health improved. Jane's chronic insomnia got better. My blood pressure, which had been high for years, normalized. We both had more energy. A cold that normally would have knocked me out for a week passed in a couple of days. But the most profound change was in how I saw my wife. I was truly seeing her again. Not just what she did for me, but who she was as a woman. The compliments weren't just changing how she felt about herself. They were changing how I saw her. I was falling in love with my wife all over again, not with the memory of who she'd been in our 30s, but with the woman she'd become at 60. And that was the biggest surprise of all. Let me give you a plain English roadmap for how to make this work. No psychobabble, just what actually works. Step 1. Pay attention for 3 days. Just observe your wife. Not what she does for you, but who she is. Watch how she handles problems. Listen to her ideas. Notice her interactions with others. Take mental notes or actual notes in your phone if you need to. Step 2. Start with strength compliments. For a week, find one opportunity each day to acknowledge her resilience, wisdom, or capability. Be specific. Mention exactly what you've observed and why it impresses you. Step 3. In week 2, add those uniqueness compliments. Notice and name the qualities that make her distinctly herself, the characteristics nobody else has in quite the same way. Step 4. By week 3, work in the impact compliments. Tell her specifically how she's influenced you, your children, your community. Focus on who she is, not just what she does. Throughout this whole process, remember 3 non-negotiable rules. Get specific. Generic praise is worthless. You're amazing is forgettable. The way you remained calm when our flight was canceled and quickly found an alternative shows remarkable problem solving under pressure is memorable. Be honest. Only say what you actually mean. Women have built-in BS detectors, especially after decades with you. A fake compliment does more harm than no compliment at all. Timing matters. Don't shout these compliments from another room or mumble them while checking your phone. Make eye contact. Use her name. Keep your tone genuine. What if she looks at you like you've lost your mind? Don't get discouraged. If your relationship has been emotionally cold for years, it'll take time to thaw. Just be straight with her. I've realized I haven't been acknowledging what I appreciate about you, and I'm trying to change that. Consistency will prove you mean it. My buddy Mike, 72, tried these compliments after 42 years of marriage. His wife Barbara actually asked if he was having an affair because the change was so sudden. Once he explained, their relationship transformed completely. We're having conversations now that we should have had 40 years ago, he told me, with genuine emotion in his voice. This approach works because it addresses what women our age actually need: to be seen, to be valued for who they are, and to know their lives have mattered. Let's recap what you've learned. 3 specific compliments that work like keys to unlock a woman's heart after 50. Praise her strength, recognize her resilience and capability, appreciate her unique traits, the qualities that make her different from every other woman. Acknowledge her impact, how she's made a real difference in your life and others. These aren't just nice words. They're about recreating the connection that leads to everything else you've been missing: conversation, companionship, and yes, physical intimacy too. As men in our 50s, 60s, and 70s, we need to understand something critical. A better relationship isn't just about happiness, it's about health. Men in connected relationships live longer, have stronger hearts, better immune systems, and recover faster from illness. That's not sentiment, that's science. Let me share one last story that shows the power of these compliments. Richard, a 68-year-old retired executive in my golf group, had been married to Linda for 38 years. Their marriage had become what he called parallel play, sharing space, but not really sharing lives. After learning these 3 compliments, he committed to the 30-day plan. The first week was uncomfortable as hell, he admitted. Linda looked at me like I was having some kind of breakdown when I started acknowledging her emotional strength. But he stuck with it. By week 3, Linda started responding. By the end of the month, they were taking evening walks together, something they hadn't done in years. 6 months later, they renewed their vows in a small ceremony with their children. "We're having a second honeymoon at 70, Richard told me, his voice breaking. I just needed to learn how to actually see her again. Here's my challenge to you. Try just one of these compliments tonight. Be specific to your wife. Watch her reaction. I guarantee you'll see a difference. Then come back and share what happened. Start small with the strength compliment and build from there. Create a 30-day practice and watch your relationship transform. At our age, we know time is precious. Don't wait to express your appreciation. These words can heal old wounds, break down walls, and create renewed connection. They cost nothing but attention, yet their impact can be life-changing. If this helped you, give it a thumbs up so other men can discover it too. Comment below with which compliment you'll try first or share your experience. And subscribe for more straight talk about strengthening relationships in the second half of life. Here's to rediscovering the woman you married and being discovered by her all over again.